Hey Google, what's the best affordable phone?
Here's a summary from the website businessinsider.com. The best $100 phone, with major caveats, Blue R1 HD, the best $200 minus 300 phone, and the best value overall, Moto G5 Plus, also worth considering, Huawei Honor 6X, and more.
And I guess Google it's wrong because this right here it's the Huawei Elate, a pretty decent phone that costs only $65. What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and you guessed it, this is the review of the affordable Huawei Elate. First things first, you can only find this phone in the US and you can buy it for $65 without a contract, and that's just unbelievable considering the value that you get for that $65. Now of course the phone is gonna be locked to Cricket, but you can easily buy an unlock code and unlock the phone. This particular one was unlocked by the unlockingcompany.com, and no, this is not a sponsored video, however they did unlock the phone for me. Why don't we start with the specs? So we have a Snapdragon 435, this is an octa-core CPU, we have 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of internal storage. Out of that internal storage we only have about 10 gigs left, but luckily you can install an SD card as internal storage, so we are not gonna be running out of space anytime soon. The phone is also running Android 7, we have a 5.5-inch screen that has a 720p resolution, and we also have a massive 4000 mAh battery inside. The phone's frame it's made out of plastic, the back it's made out of metal, and the phone doesn't feel like a phone that costs $65. So on the right hand side you're gonna find the power button and the volume keys. On top we are gonna find the secondary microphone and the 3.5mm audio jack. On the left hand side we have the slot for the SIM card, and all the way at the bottom we have the microphone, we have a micro USB charging port and the speaker. As for the sound coming out of that 3.5mm audio jack, well, it's better than I was expecting, so it's loud, crisp and with a lot of bass, so considering the price of the phone it's quite unbelievable. Now the speaker at the bottom of the phone it's not the greatest out there, so it doesn't get that loud and it's very easy to cover the speaker as well whenever you're holding the phone, so definitely not the best speaker that I've heard. Unfortunately, the phone doesn't support OTG, however it supports fast charging, so charging the device from 0 to 100 is done in about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Now inside this phone we have a 4000 mAh battery, which is quite impressive. So you're gonna be able to go for about a day and a half on one charge, and out of that about 9 to 10 hours of screen on time, which is just insane for a phone that costs $65. The 5.5-inch screen is an IPS panel with a resolution of 720p, and I know some of you may be disappointed about that 720p resolution, however the screen looks very good in fact. So the colors are nice and vibrant, the viewing angles are great, and the sensitivity is really good as well. The screen can even register up to 10 touches in the same time, and once again for this price that's unheard of. Moving to the bottom of the screen, there you're gonna find the navigation buttons, and those buttons can also be moved around from the software, and all the way at the top you're gonna find the 8-megapixel camera. Once again I was quite surprised about the picture quality from that front-facing camera, mostly considering the price of the phone. So if you have plenty of light, the pictures will turn out very sharp and very detailed, and if you don't have enough light, well, you can still take pictures, they may not look as good, but considering the price of the phone, once again the pictures look very good even in low light. And since we are talking about pictures, on the back of this device we have a 12-megapixel camera and a flash, and once again I wasn't expecting to get any good pictures from this phone, but I was wrong. The camera app is very quick, and we even have an HDR mode and a manual mode, and once again a manual mode for a phone that's $65, that's unheard of. And on top of that it even takes good looking pictures. Of course the pictures aren't gonna be as good as the pictures that you'd get from a Samsung Galaxy S8, but the pictures are very good for a phone that costs only $65. Even the pictures taken in low light are acceptable. Maybe they are not the sharpest or the brightest out there, however they are more than acceptable. Performance-wise, this phone is using the mid-range Snapdragon 435 CPU, and this is an octa-core CPU, and we've seen the same CPU in a lot of Xiaomi devices, mostly entry-level Xiaomi devices. So the scores that we're gonna get on the Antutu benchmark and the Geekbench 4 are very normal for that Snapdragon 435. Of course, that CPU, it's not the fastest CPU out there, therefore the phone is not gonna be that fast, but you're only gonna feel that if you're coming from a much more expensive device. If you're coming from an entry-level device, this phone is gonna feel really good. So it will take the phone a couple of seconds to open certain apps, but once an app is loaded you shouldn't really have any issues. So for example, I used Chrome quite a lot and there were no issues with Chrome with zooming in, zooming out, scrolling up, scrolling down or anything like that. On the YouTube app, of course, the maximum resolution is gonna be 720p, but that's the resolution of the screen. But all the videos that I watched at that resolution did work very well. Even gaming works great on this phone. Now, don't imagine that all the games from the Google Play Store will work great, but most of them will actually do quite good. You may see some skipped frames here and there, but for the games that I actually played, there were no skipped frames, no lag, no anything. So the phone did perform very, very well. This phone is using Android 7, but on top of that we have Huawei's own skin called EMUI. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of EMUI, however, it is better on this phone than previous entry-level devices from Huawei that I've seen in the past. Now, if you don't like EMUI, you can easily install Nova Launcher and the phone is gonna feel just like it would have stock Android. But even if you don't, the phone doesn't slow down from that EMUI, which is something unusual for Huawei because usually their skin is quite heavy. Moving on to the GPS unit inside this phone, well, it only takes a couple of seconds for the phone to find your location. Once your location is found, it doesn't seem to lose it, which is quite unheard of for a phone this cheap. So I was very, very surprised about that. Now for sensors, we have some sensors, but unfortunately we don't have a gyroscope, so if you're into VR, this may not be the phone for you. Moving on to connectivity, so first of all, the phone is gonna work on 4G networks in the US and Canada, and that's not something that I see on the channel very often because a lot of Chinese phones don't work in the US, but this one works in the US without any issues. On top of that, we even have dual band Wi-Fi, and once again, dual band Wi-Fi for a $65 phone, that's not something that we hear every single day. So the speeds that I got over 4G and the dual band Wi-Fi were also great. So to conclude this video, if you're looking for a phone that gets amazing battery life and decent performance and you only want to spend about $70, well, this is the phone for you and you can't really get anything better for this price. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.